Good afternoon, everybody. Christine Marconi here in the NBC4i Streaming Center, joined by Dr. Mashika Roberts, Columbus Public Health Commissioner. And I feel like as soon as we got in today and kind of over the weekend, there was a little bit of anxiety building. We're seeing what's happening in these big cities like New York and Los Angeles with this COVID outbreak yet again. Um, and our numbers spiking. What's happening here in Columbus, Dr. Roberts? And then we'll get into more specific questions about best practices for holidays as we approach Christmas Eve and Christmas Day this weekend.
So, thanks for having me, Christine. Here in Central Ohio and Columbus and the larger Columbus area, we're getting up to 200,000 cases in Franklin County. And we're definitely seeing an increase in the number of cases. Our hospitals are busy. People are getting sick, even if they've been vaccinated. Fortunately, those who have been vaccinated are having mild illness. But what we're seeing with Omicron across the nation is probably going to get here sooner than any of us want it to get here. So we all need to be prepared for that.
As we head into this weekend, we're spending more time with our families. Vaccinated, unvaccinated, what are some precautions that we could take? Let's start with since the majority of adults here in Franklin County are vaccinated, what can the vaccinated population among us, what are the best practices for us?
Oh, great question. And you're right, about 60% of Franklin County residents are vaccinated, so that's good. If you are not vaccinated, I encourage you to get vaccinated now. As you think about having any type of social or family gatherings over the next few days as we enter Christmas and the New Year, I would encourage those who are vaccinated to only socialize with others that are also vaccinated. And if you are vaccinated, get boosted now. When you get the booster shot, it gives you an immediate boost. And so you don't have to wait those 2 weeks that we talk about for the primary series. So it's not too late to get vaccinated before the holidays, before you travel, before you gather with family and friends. If you are vaccinated, I would strongly discourage you from doing any type of socialization if you have any symptoms. What could those symptoms be? They could be a sore throat, they could be a headache, they could be fatigue, they could be loss of taste, loss of smell, but they could be something very simple like what you think is a sinus infection brewing, which actually could be COVID-19. So again, if you are vaccinated, hang around vaccinated people and don't go if you're feeling any type of symptoms. And if you have access to one of those at-home test kits, I encourage people to test before they gather. If you can get everyone in your small gathering to test before they gather, and everyone's negative, then you can socialize safely and feel some sense of confidence when you're getting together. If you can vent a window to increase that ventilation, that can't hurt. If you have an air purifier machine at home, put that on. That will help as well. So there are definite things you can all do to protect ourselves if we're vaccinated, if we want to gather with family and friends during the holidays.
We actually have our forecast up right now, and the weather is going to be a little bit conducive to that, kind of mild, 54, 55 degrees on Christmas Day and Eve, which is good, so that we can, definitely vent and open up some windows if possible. Christmas a lot of the time centers around kids, and we know just recently, the 5 to 12-year-olds are able to be fully vaccinated, but those, toddlers in our family, other people, and the kids, the young kids, how can we protect them the most?
Well, how we protect people who can't get vaccinated, so those are those kids 4 and under, and maybe some adults who just can't get the vaccine for some underlying medical reasons. We need to surround them by people who are fully vaccinated and boosted if they're eligible, and to make sure we are well when we get around them. So again, if you're sick, if you're having any symptoms, don't go to that family gathering or that social gathering where you know they're going to be a large number of kids 4 and younger who cannot get vaccinated.
As we head into other holidays, such as New Year's, where a lot of the times people go out, they go to restaurants, they go to bars. There are big gatherings where you're not around people that you don't know whether they're vaccinated or not. You're likely not wearing a mask, especially if you are drinking or eating or something like that. What would you recommend for people to stay safe? Do you think more of it like a I guess don't do it sort of thing as the numbers continue to surge? Or if you're vaccinated, is it safe to do so?
I think what we have to realize with Omicron circulating now is any activity we do when we're in a large group of people who we don't know and we don't know their vaccination status, that we are at risk for being exposed to COVID-19. So you have to weigh the risk benefit of any activity you do, whether it's choosing to go to the airport, whether it's choosing to go to a concert, whether it's choosing to go to a party with other people that you don't know. You are putting yourself at risk. And some people are okay with that risk, and some people are not. And so, if you're vaccinated, you've got a level of protection that should prevent you from being seriously ill and needing to be hospitalized. But if you're not vaccinated, you're at increased risk for getting COVID-19 and likely could have severe symptoms.
Let's talk about hospitalizations right now. I know we got a statement from Ohio Health, our biggest hospital system in central Ohio, saying that the vast majority of the people that they're seeing in their hospitals right now are unvaccinated people. I know you talk to all hospital administrators in the county and in the city. Is that the case everywhere? And what are the numbers looking like? I don't know if you know any percentages or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, so I talk to the chief medical officers for our Franklin County hospitals twice a week and just talked to them this morning. And what we're hearing, not only here in Franklin County, but really in Ohio, is about 95% of those who are hospitalized with COVID-19 are unvaccinated, 95%. So a small percentage, only 5%, are vaccinated. And usually those are our older population or those with some underlying health conditions that predispose them to some of the serious complications of COVID-19.
Okay. Um, Talking about the older population as well, would you perhaps recommend if you are immune compromised or in that elderly population, perhaps to wear a mask if you want to be around family this year?
Well, first of all, I would remind everyone in the city of Columbus, as well as Whitehall and Bexley, there is an indoor mask order.
Yes.
Now, what you do in your personal home is up to you, but I would tell those older adults or anyone who is immunocompromised that they should definitely refrain from being around large groups of people who they don't know and they don't know their vaccination status. And if they choose to go in those environments, they should make sure they wear a mask.
Just I guess let's round it off by talking about the COVID anxiety. I think we all kind of thought last Christmas when a lot of people spent it alone, didn't go to the family gatherings and this and that, stayed away from our grandparents. We thought it would be just kind of a one and done sort of thing. But now, with the Omicron variant spreading and our hospitalizations really going up and up, a lot of people have anxiety. What is the best way to combat that and make sure we're taking care of our mental health as we continue to go through this, coming up on 2 years at this point?
Yeah, I understand that. And I feel the anxiety that everyone else feels. I mean, I'm living through this just like everybody else. And it's tough. This virus has changed. And it's taken a different course than many of us would have ever predicted. And so, again, I think everyone who is vaccinated, you've done the right thing to protect your health as well as the health around people around you. So you have to just weigh the risk and benefits of the activities you choose to do. So of course you want to be with your family. I want to be with my family, but I'm making sure we're all vaccinated. I'm making sure that when we gather, we are asymptomatic and that we test before we gather. And those are all things everyone can do in our community to help reduce some of that anxiety that we all have.
One last question. I know Franklin County Health Department handed out 16,000 tests and they were gone within an hour this morning. Um, do you take that as a good sign that people are continuing to take COVID very seriously? And do you have any tips on where people can get more rapid tests if they were unable to get them from the county this morning?
Yeah. So we gave out some test kits over the weekend. We went through over 10,000. In Franklin County, again, as you mentioned, they were giving them this morning at the Mid-Ohio Food Collective, as well as some fire departments in some of the suburbs. I do think it's a good sign that people are listening to our advice. They're heeding our advice. They're getting the test kits. I'm hoping they use them appropriately, use them before they're gathering. If they were not able to get one from one of these giveaways over the last few days, I would encourage them to try to go to one of their retail pharmacies or stores that might still have some that they could buy. We understand that ODH does not have any more to give us until January, so we will not be able to restock our supplies and make those available to the public until that time. But that is a good tool to have and to use for when you are gathering with other people.
All right, Dr. Roberts, anything else that I haven't asked that you would like to touch on before people start their celebrations this week with their family members?
I would just encourage people who are not vaccinated, please, please get vaccinated. I know there's been a lot of reluctance, but the vaccines can help save lives. They can help prevent serious illness. You might get a mild disease, but you're not going to end up in the hospital.
All right,
You're less likely to end up in the hospital.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Roberts, thank you so much as always. We appreciate it. We wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays with your family. Hopefully, you can get some time off. I know it's been a rough year for you.
It's been a rough 22 months, but
Yeah.
we'll get through this. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you later.
Happy holidays.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.